Okay. Should be good now. Hello. How's it going, everybody? Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending where you are around the world. Can we get a mic check and a visual check? You guys should be able to see the news to your left, GBPJPY on the 1 minute chart in front of your screen right now, but we're going to be zooming out and going breaking it down anyways from the intraday time frames. Zoom chat, all good. YouTube, before we jump into it, everything good? It is currently Tuesday, January 26th, 1:55 a.m. Eastern, coming towards pre-London hours. We are going to be doing some intraday and scalp analysis on gold, GBPJPY, GBP USD, EURUSD, USDCAD, and US30, while also looking at any potential economic data reports and economic data we have throughout the night, investor behavior, and reactive headlines, which you can see to the left side of your screen. We'll be refreshing and looking through, okay? All right, before we jump into it, I just want to make sure nobody has any questions or concerns. No snow on the West Coast? Yeah, we're starting to snow here in the GTA area. I'm closer by the lake as well. Lake Ontario. Fuck Modi? Yeah, man, fuck Modi. All right, so no questions or concerns. Let's start out with GBPJPY here. Before we jump into it, some economic events. Tonight, we do have some UK jobs data, which is going to be released roughly in the next 5 minutes. Besides that, we just have some economic data through New York session. But we're going to be looking at that data release live in the next 5 minutes to see if we can use that economic data to our advantage. Other than that, some of the key fundamental points that we want to focus on is that we are coming towards the end of the business month. This is the last business week of the month of January. So just keep that in mind, as we can see some potential end of month rebalance of flow moves later in the week as well, as institutions set up their order flow for the following month. And the markets are still fairly optimistic, but a lot of the market optimism has been priced in and digested by investors. And you can see, for example, like on GJ here, GJ isn't in a sell-off. We might be taking advantage of some GJ scalp and intraday sell trades tonight, but that does not mean that GJ is in a sell-off. GJ is still very much bullish, but as a lot of the day-to-day market optimism regarding vaccines, the Brexit deal, and talks around that, as it's been priced in, you can see at previous intraday highs that GJ buyers have printed, they are starting to do what? What is happening right now at GJ from these highs? So we are seeing buyers exiting out of the market and cashing out, which is showing us technical buyers exhaustion, sellers jumping in hand to relieve them out of the market, creating this pullback stage and pullback structure, right? So this doesn't mean that from this point GJ is going to have a meltdown to 135. But what we can identify is that this is the way that, even though GJ can be very bullish, that doesn't mean that every time we are going to come look at the pair to trade, it's going to have a buy trade setup. The market moves in waves. You have, sorry about that. What was that? Oh, okay. Yeah, Curtis. Yeah, deeper pullback. Exactly. So you have new highs or previous highs being printed by buyers at around the 142.2 point. Buyers exiting out positions and cashing out. The only way they can cash out of positions is if sellers also jump in hand to relieve them out of the market. That's how the market works. You have you have someone else to pick up your order on the other side, essentially, anytime you want to cash out or close your position. In simple terms, okay? Obviously, there's a lot more involved nowadays in the modern market, but in simple terms. So, what have we seen before, even when GJ is bullish, but it peaks previous intraday highs, or buyers struggle to break those previous intraday highs? What do we see happen? We see these pullbacks take place that don't break market structure, but these sell-offs in pullback stages can be anywhere from 50 to 300 pips. Like, for example, some of these aggressive pullbacks we saw previously, like end of December, early January, as we were peaking around the 140.5 areas, we had 300 pip pullbacks all the way back down to 137. But from a macro intraday perspective, this structure never broke. But for that time period of about a couple of days, sellers were in control for that 3 day period. Or after we failed to break those lows and revisited these highs and buyers exited positions, sellers were in control for that intraday period. Same thing you can see anytime new highs are peaked and you have this pullback phase, right? So now what we can identify is, yes, GBPJPY higher time frame, bullish. Okay, but current price positioning, we are seeing sellers pressure and buyers exiting positions at previous highs. And you have to understand the timing of the market, that we are coming towards the end of the month and the start of the new month, where the new month could also dig deeper to grab order flow and liquidity, fail to break this higher time frame structure, then continue up. So with this information and understanding that when we are currently zooming in GBPJPY right now, we are in this pullback corrective stage. How do we trade that pullback corrective stage? How do we identify that structure? Well, we do that by starting to zoom down the time frames, using our historical price points as key levels, and identifying market structure on the 1 minute time frame. Okay. So the same time, for example, we are looking to play something similar to here, and I'm going to show you guys that when we come to the 1 minute time frame now. So these white lines are your higher time frame key levels. Okay, these are your higher time frame historical price points based on like yearly levels, 3-month levels, and 1-month levels that have a lot of significance in reaction through history. Okay, these red lines in the recent price action and market structure, these are psychological price levels between the higher time frame zones. And then obviously these white like diagonal lines are our trend lines to identify higher time frame structure, where since March pretty much when we had that COVID crash, GJ has been respecting this bullish structure with buyers continuously printing highs. We've also started to break out of weekly and monthly bearish market structure. But that doesn't mean that GJ is bullish when we're zooming on the higher time frames, that as scalpers or intraday traders, we can just start jumping in buys willy-nilly. No. Right now, as you can see, similar that I just identified on the 1 minute, similar to the left here, you can see here, similar to the left, this was January 20th. We just had the UK jobs data come out as well, and the new hourly candle start. The unemployment change is good. The unemployment rate is also good. Hopefully this gives us a spike up to retest some key levels. But anyways, you can see those figures to the left here: employment data, jobless rate. Okay, so anyways, this was January 20th. See how GBP buyers pushed up to the intraday highs, failed to break. You got a break of this lower time frame bullish market structure, and then, even though it's not long, but for an extended period for like 8 to 10 hours, you had this pullback structure and sellers in control all the way down to 141.2. Okay, you see that? You had GBPJPY in this corrective pullback structure where buyers are exiting positions from the highs, sellers are jumping in hand, and you had bears in control during that period. So now come to where we are here in recent price action. We had this strong bullish market structure, which you can see is identified. The bullish market structure you guys are seeing is from these 140.3 lows, January 18th. We had an extended high, this pullback phase to 141.2, and you can see we were holding that bullish market structure for an extended period of time until recently. So that's where we had this break of bullish market structure at the same price at those intraday highs, and bearish corrective market structure now start forming. Do you get what I'm saying? So that action and reaction of buyers closing positions at those highs and sellers jumping in has now created a break of this bullish intraday structure, a break below 142, and created this lower time frame bearish market structure where we are having lows printed on the lower time frame. Even right now, when the GBP jobs data was good, right? That jobs data was good. It's pre-London. We're getting a spike up right now, but we are still having lows printed and bearish market structure being respected on the lower time frame. So that is something I just want to identify, that as of right now, when we are scalping in intraday trading GBP JPY, we have to be cautious here, because yes, the higher time frames are bullish, but on the lower time frames and on the intraday time frames, GBP JPY is in a corrective pullback stage, respecting this lower time frame bearish market structure, with the new lows being printed on an intraday perspective overnight now. Okay, so with that being said, the only way I would see safer buys on GBP JPY are if we fail to break these current new lows that are created and then come above 141.800 psychological price level following the quarter point theory. What this would show me is that the higher time frame bulls are jumping back into the market and buyers' momentum is picking up, as we would first be creating a support at these lows, showing sellers exhaustion. And then we would also be breaking above this corrective bearish market structure and coming above the price level 0.800 PPL for an entry point. I would only be looking for buys if we have a shift in this lower time frame bearish market structure, a failure to break these current lows, and price above 141.8. That would give me all the confirms that the UK jobs data is holding strength. We're getting a shift out of the corrective bearish lower time frame structure, and higher time frame buyers are jumping back in with the trend. Otherwise, if we pull up for London open and pre-London hours and revisit these previous lows and fail to break, this is a potential sell area, as well as safer sells are below 141.5. And if we don't have a break of this bearish corrective structure, all we are doing is continuing to extend that pullback and corrective stage and playing those sells down on GBP JPY. When we're looking at our safe haven currencies, we can still see that the US dollar is holding strength and that the Japanese yen is still holding bullish market structure, as well as on the third view here, Volatility Index, which is a fear and greed indicator in North American markets, but still gives a good gauge of fear and greed in global markets. We see a nice spike off these previous lows and at least a bit of fear coming into the markets. So if the volatility index remains above these previous lows, the Japanese yen gets a bit of a bullish boost to revisit these highs. And more primarily, when we're looking at the dollar index movement overnight, if the dollar continues its upside bounce, as we had a lot of liquidity generated from this low, a break above our zone, and a retest so far, if the dollar continues up, this shows me that there is more liquidity going into the safe haven currencies and coming out of the equity markets and coming out of the risk currencies. Because what we can also identify is our equity markets around the world are starting to also exhaust, not have a massive sell off, not break higher time frame bullish market structure, but finally showing some signs of exhaustion to start this new year and coming towards the end of the month, right? So we're seeing UK equities are entering a bit of a bearish corrective trend. German equities are failing to break previous highs and turning fairly bearish on the intradays. Even US futures US30 is also turning fairly bearish. We're starting to see some of this market optimism and greed get faded out. Those buyers exit the market and sellers jump in hand, right? So that's why I'm saying with GJ, does that make sense for potential trade ideas? Maybe if we come down to 0.200, we could see a bounce here, but I'd be looking for reactions as we make our way down. But primarily now, with the current price positioning of GBPJPY, the failure to break previous intraday highs and the strong rejection from this point, as well as the break of that bullish market structure and the formation of this lower time frame bearish corrective structure, I am not looking for GJ buys unless we come above 141.800. Does that make sense to everybody? And I'm just going to label that out. Because yes, that UK jobs data was good for the short term, but it might not be enough as we observe, as we watch price action to shift this lower time frame structure. Okay, makes sense, guys? Yeah, yes. All right. Oh shit, UK's getting some quarantine hotels, man. You guys are getting some quarantine camps in the UK. They're just naming it hotels, but it's basically a quarantine camp, as you guys can see. Anybody in the UK, if anybody asks you to go towards a quarantine camp or hotel, sorry, say no. You guys are getting some quarantine hotels later today in the UK, my friends. Quarantine on. We want to vaccinate as many people and protect from new variants. Man said that shit is lit. Yeah, someone, if you do get in there, bring a camera and vlog it. That's a good idea. All right, so let me just mute myself as we type that out. Keep in mind that the economic events we're going to be observing over the night, it's already done. So like it was just that UK jobs data, which was good. It was good data, right? That UK jobs data gave that quick spike up on the new hour at these lows, right? That quick spike, and we might have a continued pullback up to 0.800 and 700 before we continue down. But we're looking at the overall structure. I'm not taking safe buys unless we come above 0.800. Then we can go back to revisit previous highs. All right. So let me type this out for you guys. Okay, so does our GBP JPY scalp and intraday trade analysis make sense for everyone? There is the potential right now that if we don't break 0.500 here, just for pre-London and London hours, that you could take a scalp pullback up to retest 0.7. But primarily the trade ideas that I am looking for are these two trade ideas, potentially three. One is that if we do get that pull, if we get that support formed and pullback, if you scalp buy that pullback, that's fine. That's up to your discretion. If we fail to break 0.500, all right. I'm seeing if we reject bearish market structure, create an order block and higher risk, higher reward sells there, or the safer sells post pullback, then coming back below 0.500 to respect this bear structure and print a new low. Okay? Otherwise, the only way I would personally see safer buys is with these confirms. One, we fail to break these current lows. Two, we break this bearish market structure, showing more buyers momentum and buyer order flow. Three, we come above our 0.800 PPL, creating lower time frame bullish structure and showing more buyers momentum as coming above previous lows and price sensitivity area. With all of those confirms checked off, I can safely take buys from 0.800 to 142, 142 to 142.2, and watch price action accordingly. Okay, we understand that the higher time frames on GJ are very bullish, but we can't ignore that we're coming towards the end of the month. Buyers are failing to break those previous intraday highs, and on the lower time frames we are starting to form this bearish market structure. Okay, so now I'm just gonna jump to GBP USD to quickly summarize that, because it's going to be very similar to GJ, and then I'll talk about gold, EU, US30, and everything else. All right. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed the stream, just send it a like, subscribe, share it around with your mom and dad, you know. Yeah, the 0.500, just watch your risk accordingly because you're counter trend trading, and we still have 40 minutes until London open. Okay, I'm primarily going to be waiting for these two trade ideas laid out. All right. So let's watch price action accordingly over the next 40 minutes. If we either consolidate, fail to break, well, like let's just say over the next 30, 40 minutes, we just consolidate between these highs and lows and then fail to break the structure, then get a break below the candle body lows, we're still taking those sells down. Okay. So let's just watch price action here accordingly. It looks like that jobs data, even though it was good, it's not enough to stop those buyers cashing out on the intraday time frames. Like we're not seeing a huge impact from that positive jobs data, the unemployment and the claim out jobs change. It was good, it was good economic data though. But let's see if we get that pullback to retest structure here. And GBP USD is going to be, I'm not going to zoom out on GU because it's going to be a similar idea here. Unless you guys want me to. The only difference with GBP USD compared to GJ is that the secondary in the quote, instead of the yen, it's the US dollar, but the US dollar behaves very similar to the Japanese yen because they are both safe haven currencies in this market climate with the pandemic markets, okay? So if I quickly zoom out here, we're going to understand that the structure of GU and GJ on the higher time frames is going to be almost identical. The one the one difference, NYSE, no, the New York Stock Exchange isn't open right now. It's London. Like US future, like US stock market is still being traded by investors around the world, and US 30 is still moving. No, I wouldn't say that. The US dollar is still going, the US dollar isn't having an effect on GU as much as the NY session. No, I wouldn't say that. Every single currency, yes, you have higher probability that a respected currency, like let's just say during like people think that the Canadian dollar will move more during Canadian market hours. There is a potential higher probability of that just because you have Canadian like banking business hours open at that time, but that is not always the case because banks around the world are trading every single currency around the clock. All right, just because it's New York session or just because it's London right now doesn't mean that investors around the world or banks around the world aren't constantly moving or changing order flow in the US dollar. That's something that's happening around the clock across currencies, across commodities, across trading instruments. You get what I'm saying? So don't directly connect a country to the movement of the currency. So when you think of New York session in the US dollar, don't make that connection that there's going to be more volume for the US dollar. For example, see this move that happened on the US dollar at New York? It was about this is on the Dixie, just to give you an example, right? It was about a 20-cent move. The exact same size move happened at London as well on the US dollar. This was at London when we failed to break these lows and pushed up. It was a 20-cent move. New York, we broke higher, retested though, and then continued up. So you can't tell me that the US dollar is only going to move at New York. You get what I'm saying? The markets are moving around the clock all the time. Nah, man. The markets are moving around the clock all the time. 24/7 on the weekends. Every single currency is constantly being traded and exchanged by banks, retail traders, institutions, corporations. People forget that even a lot of these big corporations have currency holdings or foreign exchange assets. It's not even just the banks. There's so many parties involved that are trading these different trading instruments. You know what I mean? Okay, so we're gonna be keeping an eye on the U.S. dollar and the Japanese yen overnight, just to see how, yeah, no worries, Curtis, just to see how safe haven currencies are moving. Yeah, but just to give you an example, just from something we experienced, like this was the London move on the dollar, this was the New York move, right? So the market's always moving. And for example, like right now, even though New York Stock Exchange is closed, North American markets are technically sleeping. All the North American investors, banks are closed. US futures still did this move overnight with the Asian market investors, with London investors now, right? Like it's still actively moving. This is what now North American market investors call futures, but it's still the same trading instrument. It's just not going to show. It's just not going to be eligible for all those North American stock investors to trade until NYSE Open. But it's still being traded around the world. Okay. So GJ looking like it's going to give us that pullback, still respecting 0.500. Now GBP USD. The only difference is that we have created what the only difference is that we have on GU compared to GJ is that at least GU has created a new intraday high. It's not that crazy, but it is. They at least printed a new intraday high by buyers. All right. So, but the ideology behind this pair is that you have a risk currency, which is the risk currency is the British pound, against a safe haven currency being the US dollar, which the US dollar is the world's reserve business currency. All right. So as long, yes, we're maintaining this higher time frame bullish market structure, but we can take advantage of this pullback and corrective stage on GU, similar to what we are doing on GJ. As long as the lower time frame structure and bias also holds, and if the US dollar also holds strength overnight and continues up, that singular dollar strength bias will give us more confirms for continued Euro USD sells, GU sells, and UCAD buys. Like these UCAD buys ran great from yesterday, and we're looking to continue to extend this structure as well, but I'll come back to that. So now we come back, we look at our key levels in the lower time frame. We can see that we are respecting this corrective bearish market structure. So I cannot be safely looking for buys unless we had safe confirms above 1.369 with US dollar strength. USD weakness, sorry, if the dollar fades out its strength, come back above higher time frame key level, break minor bearish structure, break above medium zone 1.369. This is the only way I'm taking GU buys. Otherwise, looking for pullback to retest lower time frame bearish structure, fail to break higher, sell below key level. Okay, so just to quickly summarize GU, as it is very similar to GJ as per the current price positioning, the strength between buyers and sellers, the concept behind it of a risk currency against a safe haven currency. The secondary, the safe haven currency is the Japanese yen. Over there, it's the US dollar, but very similar structure, very similar lower time frame structure as well. Okay. Now, so everybody clear on GJ trade ideas that we have already predetermined and pre-planned in GU? I'm just going to go back to gold because we haven't done gold yet. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, cool, cool. Yeah, let me just double check the time. We have a 30-minute candle closing in 4 minutes. London open 34 minutes from now. Sorry, 1 second. I just got a message here. One sec. Yo, I'm just going to be back in 1 second. I just got a urgent phone call. Here, 1 minute here. 1 second. Huh? Yeah, don't worry, don't worry. Okay. So gold. Now, on the higher time frames, gold had this massive sell-off where sellers were in control, and we're seeing these very strong sellers impulsive moves, and then just these consolidation phases by buyers and continuous lows being printed out, right? It got very, very messy in these intraday ranges, but what we can start to see is that we were forming this bullish market structure from these low points. This was last week level. This was the Biden inauguration uncertainty where we failed to break 1855. Biden inauguration brought some uncertainty at the time, got faded out. Gold buyers printed a high. And then we had this aggressive pullback that came to that point again and failed to break. Now we're seeing this squeeze between sellers and buyers where if the US dollar also has short-term strength because the secondary in this pair is gold against the US dollar, there's a lot of potential if we come below 1852 to go all the way to revisit these 1836 previous intraday lows. The only thing is when we are zooming in here, this is a very, very messy intraday range we have been in over the last period of about 8 hours, between about 1852 and 1861. What I am liking is how buyers are printing smaller and smaller highs. We are starting to get this liquidity and compression of price. And if we could get the validation of a break below 1852 in this bullish intraday market structure, there's a lot of room for a downside on gold to continue down to 1836. I would only be looking for buys on gold at this point above 1862, and I'm going to show you guys that on the lower time frame here. Does that make sense? So yes, we were respecting this bullish market structure. We had very, very strong buyers impulsive move, but these sellers impulsive, like the sellers from this macro position are still very much in control. This just seemed like a deeper price grab for the new monthly candle to these 1876 highs. And when we zoom in, we can't deny the exhaustion by buyers and like the highs getting lower and lower, as well as price starting to compress and potentially squeeze below 1852. I do not want to play with anything in gold above 52 or in between 60. I do not want to play in this range. There's way too much indecision and whipsaw in the lower time frame in this range, where if you're not actively watching your positions or trade managing, it can really get you in some shit, right? So just zooming out here and coming back to the 1 minute lower time frame, as we already have those key levels mapped out and the bearish market structure. If gold continues to range overnight, we're not touching it. If we get a pullback for London Open, failure to break 1855, hourly wick formed, and then a break retest below 52, we're starting to take sells as we watch reactions at 48, 44, etc. on the way down, okay? No, man, I didn't have a margin call or a booty call. It's just a phone call. And GJ is also coming below 0.500. Looks like it's going to give us those continued sells. Jad, I will answer that when I look at US30, okay? Yeah, that's why I said be cautious there, counter trend trading. You could pass your FTMO challenge tonight. Nice. I'm primarily more in the sell bias on gold, but I just need the confirms that we can break below 1852 key level, as well as this bullish market structure on the intraday. I do not want to play in this range. Like this little messy range gold can enter. I do not want to play any guessing games in this range. All right, fair. Gold makes sense. We're respecting that bearish market structure on the lower time frames. The highs we are creating by buyers are getting lower and lower. We're starting to have that price squeeze. The US dollar is currently strong. If we can get that break below 1852 for a breakout entry, if you're aggressive, or a break and retest entry, that would give us validation of a break below key level, break below bullish market structure, continuing to respect bearish market structure. Even if we go down to this previous 1 minute low, that's a 40 pip target, like it's breaking right now. And then if we continue down 1844, etc. All right, there's the alert right there. So primarily in a sell bias. And we're just going to zoom in here and start observing the price action. Because we're starting to get that potential break below, especially on when we come out here and look at the 30-minute. This is a nice 30-minute bearish close below this zone, where if we could get a retest, or if you already got an entry, just continue down the ranges for London volume. So let's keep an eye on that. Whenever you are scalping or trading gold, don't forget your mental reminders, okay? We are not robots. We are not computers. We are humans who go through different trauma, emotions, who will go through a bunch of different events in our life that can impact our emotions. All right, stay as emotionally neutral as possible. Follow your trade management plan, your risk management plan, and make sure you stay smart. Number one goal while we're trading is to protect our capital and survive in the markets. But yeah, anyways, no more economic events. We saw that UK jobs data was decent, but it's not enough to give GBP buyers some continued strength. GJ going down to print a new low. We didn't get the London Open pullback yet. We're still looking for a retest to structure, but now a retest to potentially 0.500 in continuation down. But did it make sense, like why we were in a bearish bias on GJ, gold, and GU? Does it make sense? Right? Playing that corrective stage. Yeah, you guys got the pre-London pullback here in the 30-minute chart you're talking about. Yeah, I saw that. And GU now, we're pretty much looking to see if we can get a pullback at London Open if you already didn't get an entry. but it's still not even London hours, so don't worry about it. Euro USD. Similar idea where I want to play some Euro USD sells to revisit these intraday lows, okay? We've seen a massive amount of longs in the euro. We're starting to create some more corrective, defined bearish market structure now after breaking that bullish market structure and having buyers exit out positions at all-time intraday high, at all-time highs for 2020, at least in 2021. And at the same time, we have that US dollar strength, right? So I am, again, similar to GU, on a more bearish bias on Euro USD as well. You can see the private chat, we took sells here yesterday at the break below this medium zone. But what I am liking is how we are breaking this lower time frame bullish market structure now from our key level liquidity grab point here. I'm just dragging that straight across. We're starting to create some bearish structure and breaking that bullish structure. You can see we're breaking this previous low as well. London, I'm looking to retest this sweet spot. I don't even know why I drew it like that. But London, I'm looking to retest this sweet spot and then continue our way down. I personally have not taken any trades. I've already made good money for January, so I'm coming back and trading in February. I'm just doing this free stream to share some analysis, information, give each other company during these fucking depressing lockdowns, advertise capital hungry, and yeah, that's about it. But the trade ideas we gave on GJ and we're still going to be waiting for is like that bearish bias. We're just looking for, if you didn't get a breakout entry at 0.500, we're looking for the retest of 141.5 and continuation down. GU 1.365. Euro USD, we're looking for the retest of these previous 1 minute lows in bearish market structure. I do trade pre-London. I'm just not trading until February now. But these are usually the hours that I'm trading. Hence why I'm doing the stream at these hours, you know? But it has nothing to do with the end of month, Jad. It's just I got a lot of shit going on in my personal life outside of trading that was fucking up my emotions a bit. And I made a few trading errors based on that, where I already made good profit. I made like 18K USD at the start of January. So I was like, why risk any profit? It's just the start of 2021. I could take things slow. I'm still testing different brokers as well. Like I'm testing Pacific Union. I want to test Raja's broker out. Ever since Vantage left Canada, because the broker I was using before for like 3 years for my whole trading career, I guess you can call it, was Vantage FX. Do you guys know that Australian broker? But just November 2020 last year, they stopped supporting Canadian clients, specifically Ontario, due to like the Ontario Securities Commission's regulations. So I've had to change brokers since then. So I've set up an account with Pacific Union, which is very, very close in service, spreads, and even like the client portal to Vantage. And like I've had a great relationship with like one of the account managers there, Lynn. I have like an IB link for that as well, but I've still personally been testing other brokers too. Okay. Man, USD CAD, I was going to say we're waiting for the retest of this bullish structure, but that's what we're waiting for on USD CAD as well. Yeah, one thing I learned so far through my mistakes and thousands of dollars lost in the market in 3 years is that you don't have to trade every session or every day. You will 1000% burn yourself out. And this is coming from me, some guy who was like active in the markets every single day, every single session, like watching the market, studying it. And you guys know that I'm not trying to be cocky, but a lot of you know I have pretty strong work ethic, right? But even me, like I got burned the fuck out, and you end up making more, and you end up hurting your trading progress more than actually helping it, right? It's all, trading is all about balance, having this perfect, it's hard, it's unattainable, but it's trying to maintain this perfect balance of your emotions, of how you're feeling, of following your trade plan, of like taking advantage of good trades but also not. Oh, it's such a thin line, right? Of like, yeah, you want to take advantage of high probability trades and make money, but you also don't want to overtrade and do dumb shit. But how do you know what's good and bad for you unless you go through that trial and error? Yeah, I can tell you, obviously, don't overtrade, don't over leverage, don't do dumb shit, but you're not even going to know what dumb shit is until you experience that dumb feeling of when you lose your money and burn your account and you go, wow, I feel retarded right now. We've all been there, and if you're new, you're gonna go through that, right? It's a 1,000% guarantee that you're gonna go through that, right? Everybody goes through that. GU, I primarily just use previous price sensitivity areas and like order blocks on the 1 minute. Like I'm just using previous zones right now. For a low target, I'd be watching for us to go down to these 1 minute lows around 1.358 if we were to continue down. Does FX Choice support Canadian clients? Man, I'm not going to use Gold FX, man. Come on. Think I'm going to use a broker named after a farm animal? Come on. Who do you think I am? Their logo is a goat head, man. What is this, fucking an Indian restaurant trying to get some goat meat? trying to... Man, trying to get some lamb chops? How do you overcome what situation? I've never used, the only brokers I've used where I see markets years ago, and that was just when I first started trading, and I only got to use them for 1 month, and then they left Canada, and then after that I only used Vantage. So I can't give you an opinion on FX Choice. Sorry about that. I don't know about it. You, all these suggestions you guys are giving me, please make sure before you give me the suggestion for a broker to try that they support Ontario clients, because since last year 2020 November, it's not, it's Canada has a lot of regulation issues, but it's specifically my province, Ontario, OSC, Ontario Securities Commissions. All right, so if those brokers if those brokers provide a laugh to um provide a service to Ontario clients, I was reading at the same time, then I'll check it out, you know. Fuck, man, what time is it? I want to get this pullback and continued sales at London Open. 13 minutes here. Obviously, we have no buy confirms. GJ, I want to get that pullback to 0.500 and continued sales. But the closest one I found, and let's wait for gold sales as well, just because let's wait till actual London Open now in 13 minutes, okay? Pacific Union, the only thing about them is that they are very similar to Vantage. Like they have the exact same client portal. I don't know if they have like a similar, you know what I mean, but like they use the same developer or something, but it's the exact same client portal. The website's the same. Ontario and Alberta. Okay. Sorry, I'm not in Alberta, but I guess they have stricter regulations. Yo, nobody, Canadian government doesn't want us making money. They only want us working jobs and paying fucking tax, and they give everything away to refugees, you know? Giving everything away to fucking refugees from other countries and shit. While all of us get fucked. And Chinese, man. Chinese are selling everything to Chinese. No, Chimera, let's wait for gold just because we have London Open in 12 minutes, and London Open hourly candle could push up first to create a lower wick, and it could even start to hold above 1852. So I would just be a bit more patient. This isn't enough price action confirms of a break and retest just with the current timing. I want to wait until London Open, all right? Even though that was very nice, but don't worry, we still have London Open. Okay? Yeah, our taxes are like 30-40% as you start going up. What are some of these headlines, guys? We're seeing 240 UK vaccine minister, supplies are tight on vaccine. So we still got vaccine distribution issues. That is a negative, like can help our GBP sales. Do I know when Raja is starting his broker? I thought it was started. I didn't know. I thought it was already started. I made an ad for him. Look at this. Fuck. But I thought it was open, but apparently it's not. February 1st? Oh. Yeah, move to Ireland or Singapore, but Ireland's got bear depression. Ireland doesn't have too much going on with their economy. You know, I don't know if this is a true fact. Somebody said Ireland had more suicides from the lockdown and pandemic compared to deaths from COVID. Singapore, though, Singapore is lit. They're super rich in Singapore. They got money over there. Oh, sorry about the volume. Yeah, so no rush here. No rush here on gold. Be patient and wait for actual London Open, which is just in 9 minutes. Same thing for GJ. Hopefully we get the retest of 0.500 and continuation down. Otherwise, we're taking the sales below 141.2 down to 141. But it'd be ideal to get this. GU, it would be ideal to get the retest of 1.365 unless you already got an entry when we were talking about those sales on GU. EURUSD, we're looking for a retest of this bearish market structure, broken bullish structure, and previous 1 minute lows and continuation down. Dollar index is continuing its bullish upside move, which is giving us more confirms of showing us that money is going into the safe haven currencies. At the same time, we're seeing uncertainty regarding vaccines and vaccine distribution. So we're seeing money go into the safe haven currencies right now, flowing into the US dollar, and we're seeing our equity markets continuing to decline, which will support our potential sell ideas on GU, GJ, EU, and I'm looking for UCAD buys at a retest of this lower time frame bullish market structure or a pullback in a clean break above these 1 minute highs at London Open. All right, and I'm looking to target 1.282. Which, if we did get that pullback or the breakout entry, that's a nice 30 to 50 pips up. All right, so US dollar still holding some strength short term. Japanese yen is holding strength short term. This will give us more confirms of money going into those safe haven currencies, coming out of equities, coming out of the risk currencies. We're seeing some negative headlines regarding the vaccines. There's a UK, you guys in the UK, keep an eye out. You're about to get some quarantine camps. They're just naming them hotels. Same with us in Canada. There was a headline yesterday about the quarantine camps, hotels in Canada. I personally only trade 1 to 2 pairs at a time, but I look at all of these various pairs for trade ideas. A lot of them because they work hand in hand. Like when you're looking at risk currencies versus safe havens or vice versa. You get what I'm saying? The stock market is an artificial market right now, being heavily pumped up by the Federal Reserve. That's why the US dollar was so weak on the higher. The US dollar is having this bullish upside move now, right? But this is a 30-minute chart. If we just go to the US dollar here, and let's just say we go to the 4-hour chart and just zoom out, Since the COVID crash in March, the dollar has been extremely bearish, right? You guys see what I'm saying here? One of the reasons the dollar has been so bearish and the US stock market has been so bullish is because as the Federal Reserve prints more US dollars, the supply of the US dollar increases, the demand decreases, the value of the US dollar goes down, but all that money that's being printed out goes to inject the US economy via security purchases, buying bond purchases, and like those US stimulus fucking for the citizens. You know, like the, I don't know what they call it in the US, whatever the benefit they were giving was. In Canada they call it CERB, in the UK they call it like the furlough payment scheme, and the US, what do they call it? Just the fucking, here's your check, like here, take the, but you know what I'm talking about, right? When the central bank, specifically the Feds, the stimulus check. Thank you. So as the Feds printed out printed out more US dollars, those US dollars went to provide stimulus to the US citizens, as well as support the US corporations and stock market, buy bonds. And all at the end of the day, it's debt, right? It's a loan. Okay? So that massive printing of the US dollar led to a decrease in value of USD. Does that make sense? Because everything works based on supply and demand from a macro fundamental perspective. When you have high supply of something and low demand, the price of it goes down until it goes down to a demand area where buyers will jump in and buy it from that point, or unless supply heavily decreases and scarcity goes up. Okay? So the same time the US dollar was extremely bearish, yes, we're starting to get some bounces off 6-year lows now and a potential shift in structure. But during that entire yearly period, you had all those US dollars flooding the stock market, creating this artificial market that was primarily being milked by the 1% corporations and governments, while everybody else got fucked and lost their jobs, you know? And still is losing their jobs and still is dealing with COVID and the repercussions of it. But the 1% doesn't give a shit about that. Why would they, you know? Why would they? 4 minutes till London open. Where the hell my little USD labeled? Okay. All right. German 10-year government bonds drops to a low after the Italian. Yo, have you guys been noticing all of these political leaders in different countries are resigning? Like we had a bunch of different people in Canada, like Canadian governor resigning. These different like leaders across the world. Like something is bubbling behind the scenes and boiling. You know what I mean? All this shit is gonna catch up eventually, like all the jobs that people lost, all these stimulus checks, the debt, the printed out currencies, the hyperinflation. All of this has to catch up. It just can't go back to normal, you know what I mean? But the question is when. I'm thinking mid to late 2021 is when we're going to see the real negative economic effects, not like the pandemic effects, but all this lingering, everything that's catching up. Everything's going to catch up. You know what I mean? Alex Boss, what is an aqua metal? Can you educate me on that? I know about precious metals, platinum, gold, silver. I've never heard of a aqua metal. Sorry about that. Oh, it's a stock. Oh, sorry. I'm not. And here during these streams, we trade currencies, the entire US stock index as a whole, like Dow Jones, the entire index, as well as gold, oil, and different commodities. We don't trade specific stocks on these streams. Primarily currencies, the index as a whole, like US 30. Yeah. Yeah, no worries. I thought you were talking about some new type of precious metal coming out. Some aqua metal. I was like, oh, what the fuck is this? Right? So we had the Italian prime minister resign. Supply and demand, not from a technical perspective, but supply and demand is something that impacts any service or product from a business perspective, whether it's a currency or whether it's a fucking apple or whether it's crude oil. Okay, these are basic concepts that can help evaluate the potential price of a good or service. When you have an extremely low supply of a good, meaning it is rare, there is scarcity behind it, there's a limited supply to it, but you still have a high demand for it, there's going to be a correlated higher price. This can apply to currencies, oil, gold. You get what I'm saying? So I think it's London Open right now. That's why I said be patient with gold. The hourly candle pushed. We did have a nice hourly candle close below 1852, but we could push up a bit higher, then drop back below. So just be cautious that it's just London Open now. No rush on these trades. We still got a few hours. We're watching charts. But anyways, right? So the same thing where you have that, for example, if you had somebody who was selling apples, okay? And they're selling apples at their local store, whatever it may be. How do I And all of a sudden, let's just say an apple pie contest comes to that local little city town. Now all of a sudden there's a larger demand for apples. They need more apples than they usually do. Because the demand is higher, that seller of apples can increase his price because he knows people are going to buy him. That's business. It's capitalism, right? But something can happen on the inverse side where there could be no demand for apples and the business owner who's selling these apples has such a high stock and supply of these apples, he has to get rid of them. But everybody in the town's buying bananas. So there's a high supply of this guy's apples, but a low demand. How's he going to get rid of his stock and continue his business? What's a tactic he can do to make those apples more appealing? Drop the price to increase the demand, right? So this is why I said be patient with gold because it's London Open. No rush here. Let it do its pullback. Well, we're going to watch the reactions accordingly. We're going to let the hourly create its potential upper wick. If it comes back below 52, we'll sell. All right. Yeah, some guy can also show up with Apple loans, Apple bonds. But now, Antanas, that's a whole different topic of conversation. Now you're just talking about the market. You know what Yes, sir. Let me go to US30 here. So be patient with gold. Don't jump in sells yet. Just because it's London Open, the hourly candle is looking like it's just setting up, grabbing liquidity. We're still respecting like this bearish intraday structure. We can see that this hourly candle also has no lower wick, which is a good sign for us that if we push up and reject and flip bearish, we'll continue down and create that lower wick through London session. All right. This news feed is from Reuters icon. So if we just make that hourly wick now and come below 1852 to make that lower wick, we should continue down. GJ is just having a potential bit of a bounce. I'd like it to retest 0.500 or take sells below 0.200. GU, we're waiting for the pullback. EU, we're waiting for the pullback. UCAD, we're waiting for the pullback to around 1.27600 if we fail to break. And now let's look at US30. Sorry about that. I started rambling about a lot of random shit right there. Forgot about US30. All right. I don't know about you guys, but if you have experience in the markets and understand the fundamentals, I'm scared to sell US30. I don't want to fight the feds. I don't like getting knocked out. I don't know if you guys like getting knocked out. Maybe you do, and you like to do high risk shit like take sells against the Federal Reserve, you know. But the only area I would see. Are you saying gold is looking bear? Oh, only for this session, Adele. Just potentially for this session through London and New York, looking at the lower time frame structure as we scalp an intraday trade. I'm not saying gold is bearish for all of 2021. Don't rush gold yet. Let gold actually have a clean break below 1852. Okay, it's still messing around and it hasn't created a significant lower wick yet. And I need price to actually remain and have confirmations below 1852. Right now we're just reacting around this price point. We could have you could and we still have an hour till the candle closes. Gold could come up to 1855, then flip bearish. So just be patient and wait for the price action confirms. And I want to see if gold ends up closing back in the range or if it starts to reject, come to below 1852, fail to break, then continue down and make that lower wick. All right. So just keep an eye on it. Gold is going up. Physical gold, yeah. All right, so no, don't rush anything on gold above 1852. If we have a clean break below and remain below, you could look for scalp sells down. All right, GJ, we're waiting below 0.200 or the 0.500 retest. That's what I said on the paper, guy. Okay, so US30 right now, you can see US30, as we are still very early into a new fiscal year, as we've peaked these all-time highs, we are starting to notice some buyers exhaustion and entering this corrective pullback phase. Okay, so primarily for US30, fundamentally during the pandemic markets, we are looking for either optimistic headlines or someone switched GJ off. What happened? Oh, the we talk about. So we are looking when you're looking for fundamental impacts on US30 through these pandemic markets, you're primarily going to be looking at any impacting factors from one, US economic data. Obviously, if US economic data such as retail sales or inflation figures or GDP is good, this is going to bring higher investor confidence into the US economy and see more investor inflow into the US stock market. Something else through the pandemic markets that we have to actively watch are the headlines regarding COVID-19 and the vaccines. Okay, a lot of the fear has been priced in, but anytime we had very negative COVID headlines, that would also like an example of that was, remember, this seems so long ago. Remember when Trump had fucking COVID? I don't want to go back to the chart because I don't remember exactly when that was. There's like a spike down back here somewhere. But remember when like we didn't have all these vaccine talks and Trump had COVID for that short period of time? And the market took that dump, US futures, and then as he recovered and said he was feeling like Superman, it continued back up. So that's another impacting factor, is these reactive headlines, which tells us about market fear and optimism. Another great thing you can look at, or tool you can look at day to day, even though you don't have to actively trade it, is the volatility index. This volatility index was created essentially by investors to measure investor confidence or fear in the US stock market. Yes, it's a trading instrument that is actively traded by investors, banks, and everybody else, but it's also used as a fear gauge in the US North American stock market, right? So watching this through North American hours day to day, it pretty much runs the inverse of US futures. And alongside that, you're looking at price action, market structure, etc., etc. So this is why I didn't want anybody to rush any gold sells. Hopefully everybody's paying attention to me. Let's just watch price action accordingly. Let it do its thing and patiently wait for the confirms we need. I'm still not taking any trades in this range because there's too. If you're scalping and intraday trading, yes, this is the 1 minute, but some of these moves are like 20 pips up and down. It can really cause you a lot of stress as you're scalping and intraday trading. It's best to wait for key price point areas to enter on, especially when you're trading gold. I'm only taking buys above these previous highs and respecting bullish structure and a break of bearish structure. And I'm only taking sells if we come back below 52. I am not messing around in this range, and I'm currently not messing around with current price point. I'm letting it come back below 52 if it does. Just letting it could come retest these 1 minute lows, flip bearish, and then come right back down. All right, so let's just watch that patiently. But anyways, those are the factors I look at when I'm trading US30. US economic data, any headlines that are going to impact the US economy, good or bad, right? As well as looking at the volatility index day to day, and then of course looking at your price action and market structure on US30 itself. Okay, so what we can see is we are starting to get more negative vaccine headlines, buyers cashing out from these intraday highs and starting to form pullback structure and corrective structure on US30 while also breaking bullish structure. All right. No, Jeff, I just don't want to rush anything on a gold range. If gold is trending, then we'd be looking for a trade on a retest point, right? But why do you want to play guessing games? Jeff loves to come troll. This guy loves me. I forgot about you, Jeff. It's you, Jeff Bick. I remembered you now. You've been watching me for like 3 years now, across every platform. Thank you, thank you. All right. So the only thing, no roasting. Roasting, we only roast and start to banter on the stream, if you guys haven't noticed, during Asian market, like during the end of the stream. All right. So we only do that during the, we only start joking around, bantering, roasting people. Yeah, I missed you, Jeff. We only do that at the end of the stream, you know? Right now, we're still actively watching London, providing analysis, and I'm looking for trade ideas. But, okay, right now, from a technical and fundamental perspective, below around 30.95, I am in a sell bias on US30. But I am fucking scared of the Federal Reserve. All right? I do not want to fight the feds, and because every single aggressive pullback on US30 from previous all-time highs, it gets bought up and we go back to extended to a new high. All right, and you can see that we had a very strong aggressive downside move, but the candle body still closed above 30.75. So for US30 on the 1 minute, the safest buys for me would be if we came above 31K flat. Otherwise, anything below the sniper point, which is a retest of the lower time frame bearish market structure you guys are going to see here. If we retest this area here and fail to break this lower time frame bearish market structure that you can start to see form, where from these highs we're creating lows. You get a pullback, we create a new low. We essentially get a pullback, we should essentially go to create a new low, right? You just can't fight the Fed. You just can't fight the Fed. If that money injection comes in, you're fucked. All right? So anyways, high risk, high reward sells is if we come to this point and fail to break, there is potential for scalp sells back down the ranges. Otherwise, I'm looking for only safe buys above 31K. If we come back above 31K and back above the bullish structure, validate this as a buyer side liquidity price grab, break that bearish structure, above 31K is easy US30 buys in my opinion. All right. Yeah, gold has not given us anything to execute yet. either buys or sells. It's just like coming to revisit these previous 1 minute highs, like I'm telling you guys. Nothing significant to execute on just yet. GJ starting to slow down. Let's just zoom out on GJ here on the 30 minute, because GJ might not give us as big of a pullback up to 0.500. If we can get this candle to close below this previous 1 minute low, we can go to revisit, and even below 0.200, we do have that range down to previous intraday lows in around 141. Yes, Sal, that is correct. That is a great observation, and very true. If the Feds print out more US dollars and buy more US government bonds in exchange to inject that money into the economy, then that does increase the money supply of the US dollar and decrease the demand of it. And that means the US dollar gets cheaper. The volatility index is calculated based on the short selling information from the S&P 500. Okay, so do you see, because you can have a volatility index for various different trading instruments, but the volatility index we look at here, oh sorry, it's not up on the screen. See this? Can you guys read this up here? This is the volatility of the S&P 500. This takes any, if there is massive amount of short selling or closures of stocks within the volatility, within the US stock market, the volatility index goes up. Do you get what I'm saying? So if there's a mass amount of buyers exiting positions in the US stock market and sellers in the US stock market, the volatility index goes up and does the inverse move, because it shows volatility and fear is starting to increase. Does that make sense? This is the inverse data of the S&P 500 index. Dollar's having a very deep pullback here and failing to break previous intraday highs, but still nothing to execute on just yet. UCAD is coming to retest the bearish market structure. Let's see if we can create a lower time frame support here. If we break below this bullish structure, do not take buys, but keep an eye on that. Euro USD also, let's watch if Euro USD is coming on the new hourly candle. Euro USD is coming to retest that point we are talking about, and the hourly candle has no technical lower wick as of yet. Let's see if on the lower time frame, if the dollar can continue bullish and flip bullish, and Euro USD on the 1 minute doesn't break this significant retest area, we will continue back down to revisit this higher time frame key level, with the safer sell still being below the key level. GU also slowly giving us that pullback. UCAD, let's watch accordingly here if we create that support here. And if you're watching the dollar index, just be cautious that we don't fully correct this candle and continue back down. Because if we correct this candle and close back in range and continue back down on the US dollar standalone, then obviously EU is going to break above here and we can take scalp buys above here. Because if the US dollar continues bearish and we actually break above here, we have this scalp range all the way back up to these previous 1 minute highs. Gold is now near 1855. I still want to see if how it reacts here. We're not messing in this range. It's all good. Nobody took sells. We weren't rushing sells, so you don't have to deal with this drawdown, or you didn't take a loss. Everybody is paying attention to me. Don't worry about that. It's just moving within this range. This is what I was talking about, where gold can like go down 40 pips and come up 50 pips as it's playing in this intraday range. So I don't want to play any guessing games in there, okay? And UCAD, I'm watching for a lower time frame support to be formed around 2.76 here, 1275 here, sorry. And dollar, I want to zoom in because this is very critical on the dollar. If we just retest this previous high and continue up, our EU, GU, and gold sell buys can still be very much valid. But if the dollar snaps back below this range, if the dollar snaps back below this range, then it will come back down to revisit these intraday lows. And then, of course, gold will continue up, GU will continue bullish, and EU will also continue bullish. But we're only taking EU buys if we come above here. Otherwise, this is our sell area here if we don't break above here. But I want to see how the dollar closes on the next 30 minutes here, just the next 10 minutes. And then gold is just playing between this range here. No safe sell option, no safe buy option. The volatility, GJ will still give us that potential pullback. Don't worry about it here. Like it didn't give us it just yet, but it's still slowly creeping up. Don't worry about it just yet. Be patient. The volatility index, Vikram, is not a indicator. It is a trading instrument within itself. The volatility index, this is not a indicator like a EMA or like a Fibonacci tool or like a MACD or RSI. It is also a trading instrument within itself that gets actively traded, but it is used as a gauge to observe that strength or weakness within the US stock market, okay? So the dollars, I just want to make sure the dollar just didn't do a little bit of a fake out here and ends up closing back below this range and continuing down. That's the only thing I'm watching for, because obviously that's going to shift our sentiment, and we would obviously have higher potential to adapt to EU buys if we come up there. But right now we're still getting some signs of rejection at this previous 1 minute low in price sensitivity area and that retest point we were looking at anyways. Well, you can't have a lagging index then. Every trading instrument, unless it's closed, is in real time. It's constantly moving as the market's moving, right? There's no such thing as a lagging index. All right. So far, 20 minutes into London session, nothing has been executed on. There hasn't been any clean trade ideas. UCAD is starting to make that bit of a lower time frame support. GJ, we will get that deeper pullback. Gold, we didn't take any buys or sells yet. We don't want to play in this lower time frame range. EURUSD is just making a decision at this area point as well. We're seeing a little bit of an order block being created here, where if we can break below these candle body lows, we will continue back down. Otherwise, we're only taking buys above here. And I just really got to go to the washroom. Okay? I'm just a bit iffy about the dollar here. How the dollar snapped back and corrected this move. You get what I'm saying here? If it can still remain above these previous highs, that was just a liquidity grab and we can continue up. But if it closes back below those highs and fully corrects this bullish candle, then the dollar will have that intraday downside move, which is gonna shift our scalp bias on EU, GU, and UCAD, right? So just keep an eye on that. No support just yet. We're just getting a reaction. We're looking right here at these candle body highs and lows. Yeah, UCAD, just wait. Because if we break below this structure, we're not taking any buys. EURUSD, no sells yet. No buys just yet. Buys only if we break above 316. We'll get a continued squeeze to the upside. And I just got to go to the washroom, okay? Keep an eye on the dollar. If the dollar fades out that strength, because if it does, then we're adapting to those buys on EU above 1.2136 here, where the circle is. And UCAD, keep an eye at around 1.27558 area here, because if we break below there, if we break below here and the US dollar actually weakens, you can potentially adapt to a sell scalp 20 pips down. But otherwise, if we stay above, we're still holding that bullish market structure. I just want to see what happens here. When we're looking at the headlines to our left, We just have some headlines from Russia regarding the Sputnik V vaccine. These guys, like, where did all these vaccines fucking come from? USD CAD is still holding this lower time frame bullish market structure. Like, don't forget, right? So if it does a deeper pullback, don't worry about that. Isn't Sputnik a meme vaccine? I'm not sure. It's real right here. Russian sovereign wealth fund signs a deal to supply Sputnik V vaccine to Malaysia. What my question is, there's no fucking cure for cancer after hundreds of years of research. There's no cure for like HIV. I didn't see no. Is there a vaccine for Ebola when that shit came out? Do they have a Ebola vaccine even? Right? But COVID, you have all these companies just shitting out vaccines out their ass. Vaccines coming out. Yeah, Sputnik is a satellite, like a Russian like satellite, but they named the vaccine after that. This is a flu much easier to treat. Apparently now it's much easier to treat, Curtis. But what about all that fear started 2020 when they said this shit was gonna ruin the world and every single country was locked down and the markets crashed and the fucking everybody lost their jobs. You know what I mean? That's not usually what happens when there's billions going into vaccine research. There's always billions going into vaccine research. You don't think there's billions always circulating in big pharma? What, you don't think there's been billions in cancer research over the years or billions in HIV and AIDS research over the years? You know what I mean? Just think about how fast these guys shit out these vaccines for COVID. That's what I'm talking about, right? That's just my point. But anyways, I gotta go to the washroom, guys. I'll be back in a second here. Okay, what's going on? Sorry, my mic disconnected. Okay, new 30-minute candles. It looks like US dollar closed below that range and it's continuing back down so far. So we might be adapting to those potential EU buys above 1.236 if we get there, and UCAD sells if we remain below these lows, but watch that accordingly. Sorry, my mic was just fucking up right now. You guys hear me now? Okay. Yeah, I hear you guys spamming GJ. So GJ following the yellow brick road so far. Nice pullback to 0.500. Anybody scalp the pullback up? Okay, now watch as we're reacting at 0.500. See the 30-minute. Yeah, we can see this 30-minute pushing up, testing 0.500 so far. It is only looking bullish to me, like higher time frame and intraday bullish momentum if we really came above 0.800 still, right? So this pullback play up to 0.500 was nice, but remember we're still respecting the bearish structure and the bearish price action. So if we continue back down, don't be surprised now, right? So let's watch that accordingly here. Hopefully you guys took like some scalp profit at least to 0.5 at 0.500. One sec, let me fix my mic here. One sec. Okay, now can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me now? Should be good now on Zoom and YouTube. So this was our original plan. You can see the pullback played out to retest 0.500 for anybody who took those pullback like scalp trades up. If you have 0.500 entries, just watch your risk accordingly. But that was like the entry point. You can potentially close close to 10 pips profit soon, which is nice. But so did anybody catch the scalp buys up or a nice little sell entry at 0.500? Just make sure you guys secure positions, leave risk free. Don't overtrade, don't force trades, and we'll let the market do its thing now. Yeah, should be good. As per those economic events, no more safe sells. That was the retest of 0.500. Unless you missed that, don't worry about it. We might get another retest. But we already passed the economic data overnight, which was the UK jobs data that got quickly faded out here. Tony, right? That's the bitchy part about scalping or intraday trading, is like those few minutes, you go take a shit, you miss your entry. You guys might get a retest possibly on this new 15-minute candle for those who missed an entry. Sorry, there's so much writing here. This 15-minute candle closed with a pretty solid rejection and didn't engulf the previous candle so far. So if this one pushes up to these candle body lows and fails to break and then also turns bearish, there's a lot of potential to revisit these lows again, right? So just watch this potential next 15-minute candle. The only thing I'm cautious about is we have had, just from an intraday standpoint, we have had very strong bounces in this area before that we are digging deep into now. And what I want to highlight and show you is this. This right here, this pullback on the lower time frame was bearish market structure, just like we're sort of playing now. Or like, for example, this pullback, right? So you can see as soon as a base is found on that pullback and buyers jump back in the market and you shift out of that bearish structure, you go back up to revisit previous highs, right? So when I'm watching GJ here on this lower time frame corrective structure, I'm being very cautious at this low we peaked at previous intraday lows where we've had a very aggressive bounce before. So if we were to, like, let's just say we do have that sell scalp play and come back down but fail to break these lows similar to here. You see that? If we were to come back up and break that bearish corrective structure, there's still a lot of room for GJ upside to go back to revisit previous intraday highs. But otherwise, if we continue to respect this bearish market structure like we're watching on the lower time frame here, like, and this is all just would be zoomed on the 1 minute, right? So if we were to, let's just say, revisit these lows on the 1 minute, which now we understand that this low point that GJ sellers have formed through London session is reacting to a previous intraday low to the left, right? So now, let's just say we do come up here to the 141.5 and reject and come down again, and that sell scalp plays out great, but we fail to break here. And we start to notice more seller's exhaustion and then a break above 141.5 and the bearish market structure. That's what shows us that that pullback phase is coming to an end. Sellers are losing their strength and we're going back with a higher time frame trend in bias, okay? But through London and through New York, even right now, if we were to have an aggressive pullback to like 141.65 area, when I'm looking at the bearish market structure that's been respected for a period of hours now since those 142.2 highs, when you zoom out and look at that structure, it's really nice, right? It gives you great guide points to work with, where when you're mapping out trades, you know that if we don't break above these previous lows and we don't break above this bearish market structure where sellers have been in control for that intraday period, continuously printing lows, that this is still a great potential higher risk, higher reward sell area to continue down. You can only validate that seller's exhaustion and continuation with the higher time frame trend by getting a break out of this bearish market structure, showing that that corrective phase in the market, that pullback phase, is coming to an end. You get what I'm saying? Until then, yes, you could, yes, when GJ comes to like a support as a scalper, let's just say like this support here at 0.800, you could scalp a buy up 10, 15 pips, right? But in my opinion, it is easier to wait for the pullbacks and play with the current structure where you can see that sellers are essentially in control, and the buys would be the easiest by validating a break out of that bearish market structure, just like you would on any other time frame. But on the 1 minute time frame, we get to observe price action the fastest and the reaction between buyers and sellers at significant price points, like the most refined and zoomed in. And you also can essentially enter a scalp trade faster than other people. So right now we're seeing that this is what I wanted to be cautious about, is that we might break above 0.500. But for a scalper, as per our plan, some people took this scalp up from 300 to 500. But even if you just patiently waited as a scalper and you took your sell entry at the 1 minute failures to break there at 0.500, the next 5 minutes you got your 10 pips and you're essentially out of the market as a scalper, right? As an intraday trader, obviously your TP ranges, your stop loss is larger, and you're essentially already pre-planning to be in the market for a longer period of time. That should already be predetermined as per your trading goals, trading plan, and what you are looking to get out of trading. But if you are a scalper, don't get greedy and ignore the style of trading that you are executing on. You're only meant to be in the market for a very short period of time, playing these lower time frame ranges, 5, 10, 15, 20 pips. If you get 30 pips as a scalper, that's a fucking home run. Okay? Yes, you can secure some positions and leave runners running risk-free to potential intraday targets, but you have to know from a psychological standpoint of how you are entering the market, what your potential goals are. If you were looking to get a 10 pip buy or sell, as soon as you're in a trade, don't start to get greedy and say, oh man, maybe this can go 50 pips. And then if the market does a pullback and takes you out, don't be angry, because you had the opportunity where you could have closed in profit or set break even, but you were watching frozen, not making those choices because greed and emotions were taking over. You weren't actively closing that position or securing or thinking based on logic. You're thinking based on, oh man, maybe this can go up. Maybe this can go up another 100 pips, or maybe this can crash another 50 pips in my favor. Maybe it will reverse. You keep saying these maybes and these what ifs in your head, but in reality, you're fucking frozen, not doing anything, watching the market go against you. And we've all been there, right? The way to avoid that is by following a strict trade management plan just a trading style plan, risk management plan, and also understanding and securing. Oh, did fucking EU give the? Oh, EU might set up our buys. UCAD, we stayed out. UCAD, I said we could get those potential sells down 20 pips, but we weren't paying attention. I started ranting as we are looking at GJ, but it looks like dollar faded out that strength and it's going to close back down and continue down the range so far with how this hourly candle's looking like about to close the next 7 minutes. So for EU next hourly, if we can create a flat candle body support here or get a quick retest at this order block and then continuation up, then those scalp buys are very valid. And a similar idea with UCAD as we're starting to break this lower time frame, bullish structure. If we get a retest the new hourly and fail to break higher, those 20 pip scalps to 274 are still very valid as well. It doesn't look like dollar was holding out that strength because this was a very strong snapback candle where it pretty much corrected the upside move. But anyways, so the ways to avoid that frozen feeling or that retardation state that we've all been in, we've all had to deal with it. Everybody goes through that, trading based on emotions or doing dumb shit. I make those mistakes still. You're still gonna make those mistakes even when you gain a lot of experience, because at the end of the day, we are emotional creatures. We are humans, right? You're gonna have factors that are gonna impact your psyche outside of trading that you might not even realize. It's all gonna be happening subconsciously. So you could have gotten a fight with your significant other, something happened at school, something happened at your job, something happened at the gym, whatever happened that can negatively impact your emotions or psyche outside of trading will obviously impact your trading. Okay? So, ways to avoid this is to stay as objective as possible, emotionally neutral as possible, secure positions as you can, set break even as you can, and get used to taking small pre-planned losses like that's like a business expense, or taking break-even trades, right? People hate taking these break-even trades or getting a stop loss hit and break even. But to me, it's like you get another attempt at the market without risking any more capital. It's not a revenge trade. You know what I mean? You didn't take a loss and you're jumping in another trade. You're at zero again. You didn't lose anything. You didn't gain anything. You can easily observe the markets from an objective perspective and find another opportunity again in the next period of time or the next session, right? But a lot of people, due to emotions and greed, they ignore this, and when they get taken out break even, they end up getting FOMO or getting angry, and then this is going to obviously impact their trading decisions, right? So just remember that unless you find a trading style and you find a way to automate it, like unless if you're a developer or if you pay some developers to essentially program your trading style so a computer can execute what you want to do, at the end of the day, those emotions those emotions are something that we are all going to have to deal with and is completely unavoidable no matter what stage you are in your trading. Yes, with more experience, you gain more wisdom. You can potentially gain better control of your emotions and have a better understanding of your mentality and be more self-aware. But that's only if you apply yourself. But still, you can't avoid emotions as a human being. So we have to constantly as traders stay on top of those psychological side and mental side just as much as the analysis or actively looking for trades or anything else, probably 10 times more. And sometimes the best position to have in the market while you're trading or watching is no position at all. All right? Okay? So right now, GJ did that pullback played out well to 0.500 for anybody who scalped the pullback. The sell reaction was solid 2 for 10 pips. The new 15-minute candle is pushing up and correcting that downside move. And like I was telling you guys, why to be cautious of that is because where sellers are reacting and cashing out is at those previous intraday lows we were looking at the 4-hour, right? So now I don't want to just start jumping in buys. I do want to see how we react at this bearish market structure, which is still very much valid. Because if we just get a deeper price grab and liquidity grab down to 141.65, then obviously we can see continued sells down. And obviously if we come right back below 0.500, we can see continued sells down. Gold, we haven't been messing around with in this range. You can see we had that initial 50 pip upside move, downside move, upside move. Now it's just ranging. It's just playing in this range that I didn't want to stress or mess around with anyways, with these like 40 pip up and down moves. You know what I mean? We're looking at the headlines to the left of our screen. More headlines about vaccines. Ukraine going to get 700,000 vaccine shots from Sinovac, China. GU, that pullback trade for 20 pips played out well. The scalp for 10 pips played out well. Other than that, nothing else really going on there. GU hasn't even done the full pullback yet to 1.365. So we're still waiting for that. EURUSD, has the hourly candles closed yet? Hourly candles are closing in 1 minute now. What is good is that the hourly candle on EURUSD is closing above that bearish market structure, and we snap back above this bullish market structure. You can see the price action here was looking like a mirror, in the sense that the downside move got corrected just as fast. So I just want to see if the next hourly candle can create its lower wick and test this order block area on the lower time frame, make that lower wick, and then continue up. All right. UCAD, similar idea, where we're going to be adapting, where we didn't want to rush those buys, because yes, it was starting to create a flat candle body support, but it did not look appealing because the dollar broke back into this range and back below the previous highs. So UCAD now, as the dollar's fading out that strength, and when we zoom out here, you can see this bearish price action, where if the following hourly candle now creates that upper wick and retests that bearish market structure and these candle body lows, we can see a continuation to the downside. So let's see if we retest. If you don't already have an entry, let's see if we do retest 1.276. In EU, if we just we already created a little bit of a lower wick, but let's see if we create a flat candle body support here or get that deeper retest. And GJ, it's looking like it's going to come to retest this structure up around 141.7 on the lower time frames that we've been watching and playing. Fuck was that? Somebody in my backyard? Oh, what's this? Monty's here? Monty raid? Fuck, man. How come Monty hasn't given me a chance to raid him? Because he always comes here, because he fucking always ends his stream early. Monty, take a nap on the stream for 30 minutes, old man. Let the audience member sit there and I'll raid you next night on Thursday. This is napping hours. How's it going, Monty? Thanks for the raid, Monty. Appreciate the support. Everybody go check out Trade with Monty. Send him a like, subscribe. Always like to show support to each other, except for Todd Capital Group. So EURUSD on this hourly candle, it's looking like it's giving us that potential deeper lower wick. Very strong. I like how we didn't retest these previous lows. We're also getting a repeat of this. Look at this. See how even with the price action where we didn't revisit these previous lows. We engulfed the candle, and the bullish candle had no lower wick, showing less order flow to the downside. We had this consolidation created, an extended move to the upside, right? So now we can see something similar where we had this aggressive downside move. It still didn't break this intraday structure. We had this bullish engulfing candle again with no even wick to the lower side. If we get this hourly candle to pull back to retest that lower time frame 1 minute order block we're looking at and fail to break lower, there's a lot of potential for it to flip bullish and continue up the range for that scalp trade. So let's watch that accordingly. We have some price sensitivity to the left here. We have to break above too. What do you guys... Todd Capital, Monty Crew in the house. Yeah, I know, you guys told me. Gold looking like it, we didn't want to play gold in this intraday range. You can see why. It's at the same price point from the start of pre-London hours. GU, we're still waiting for the retest of 1.365. US30, no safe buys above 31K yet. It's just playing around that retest point of the broken bullish structure and bearish structure. Headlines to the left, primarily focusing on those UK vaccine headlines that brought some short-term negativity. Other than that, not much going on tonight. Fairly quiet, you know? Yeah, dollar just snapped back right back into structure here. So I want to see what this 30-minute candle, what this new hourly and 30-minute candle does. Leonard, if you want to see some GBP USD or GJ analysis or my view on it, you can rewind the stream because like we did a full breakdown. Stream's been, what time is it right now? 4 a.m. Asian session close, like full. For everybody who always says, "Oh, Japan closed fucking a couple hours ago, Jeev. Oh man, Japan's closed." When the entire Asian market region closes at 5 a.m. Eastern, all right, that's when the stream will be over. But that's in an hour, okay? So keep an eye on that. When India, Japan, China, when every one of those countries in the Asian region close, that's Asian market close, okay? People so racist, man. I say Asian market close and they just think Japan because JPY, because the currency. They don't even realize, they forget every other country in existence. Yeah, GJ doing that pullback like we're talking about. We start at 1:30 a.m. usually, but there was a snowstorm going on here. So I was having internet issues earlier, you know, up in Canada in the igloo. EU came to that order block, made that lower wick. Yeah, Asia's massive, man. It was just a joke, Bob Lahine. You don't have to take it so serious. He's like, forgetting a country doesn't make me racist. I was like, buddy, relax. Man took it to, you sound like you're racist after saying that. You sound like you're probably a racist guy now. I'm just playing with you. Where can you guys reach me? Oh, I forgot about the stream reminders. Don't forget your mental reminders, eh? No more dumb shit if you already traded GJ or caught GJ. Market's fairly slow tonight. Can't lie. Just because you're black doesn't mean you can't be a racist. That's a racist thing to say right there, Bob Lahine. Come on, man. Fucking 2021. Be better. I'm just choking around. Yeah, I was waiting for this too. We have some headlines from Bank of Japan's Kuroda that could impact JPY short term. Let's see if he says good shit, then GJ is gonna go up more because it's gonna weaken the yen short term. If he says bad shit, then it's gonna bring some short term fear, and then GJ will probably reject this structure point and then come back down. But Bank of Japan, Kuroda speaking right now. Yeah, I'm proud of the YouTube chat. We got the most, I think, out of all the YouTube streams. Uh, Capital Hungry chat is the most savage for sure, 100%, man. The other chats are fucking soft, man. Those guys just cry and complain about like the language you use or like if you make any jokes and shit. Nice trade, nice trade, Orgil, Mongolia. Is your last name actually Mongolia or is that? Nice trade, man. Good GJ pullback catch that we're talking about from the bottom. Man, use that 8 lot. Great job, great job. Yeah, no problem, man. Good job, good job. Keep it up. Stay disciplined. Don't overtrade. Yeah, they're talking about the monetary policy. So if they talk about more easing needed and like more stimulus needed because the pandemic outlook looks very uncertain and negative, then that could bring some short-term JPY strength and US dollar strength as well. Pop it back above range, you know? EU is coming to finally retest the order block here on this hourly candle. I want to see if we remain above here and create a flat candle body support. And I want to see what the US dollar does until Asian session close. What do we got going on through New York today? Consumer confidence report at 10 a.m. Eastern. New York might be pretty slow unless Biden's going to bring some heat. Man, we're going to miss Trump in the markets. Man used to bring that fire, you know? So I want to see if we can create a flat candle body support here and if the dollar remains weak. Otherwise, if we don't, then we are just going to range back down and that scalp play below the order block low to revisit those candle body lows is still very much valid. But UCAD's also doing that pullback now to potentially retest that broken bullish structure. And let's keep an eye on the dollar. But we do have Bank of Japan, Kuroda speaking, talking about economic outlook. Because dollar had a pretty aggressive snapback into the range and breaking back below these previous intraday highs. What's this man saying? Personally feel Japan's fiscal situation is an extremely serious state. Country must enhance its substantiability of its finances. I would have liked a little deeper retest though, but let's see. I think we're still going to come up to retest here. Yeah, as Raja would say, if you guys watch Wickstone live stream, this is a fake out. I just see it as like a correction. Like this upside move got instantly whatever terminology you like to use, fake out, snapback, correction, right? Price back below range. Just make sure you understand the concept of it. That it shows like that buyer strength and upside move got instantly corrected and canceled out, and price came back below those previous intraday highs, right? So just make sure that you understand the concept behind it. But as GU finally did that retest, 1.365. Let's watch the reaction here at the bearish market structure retest in the lower time frame after we peak these lows. New hourly candle as well. See if we retest here and get some signs of exhaustion. Yo, sorry about that beep, eh? Fucking price limit. I got headphones on, so that should be hurting my ears all the time. We're waiting all night for a retest here. And we're waiting for this retest to see how we react here at GJ on this lower time frame bearish market structure. These initial impulse sells played out pre-London hours below 0.500. We reacted at previous intraday support. Then we expected London to do a pullback to 141.5. We're starting to look for potential sells here. We had a 10 pip sell reaction here, but then buyers quickly jumped in the next 15-minute candle and broke above 0.5. And then at the start of the stream, we were already very adamant about a reaction at a retest of this lower time frame bearish market structure. So coming towards Asian session market close, and with this new hourly candle, I want to see the reactions. Pretty nice reaction so far. It's close. GU solid reaction so far as well. EURUSD solid reaction at the low of the order block as well. Be nice if it came back above 3.6. UCAD, we didn't get as deep of a retest or pullback just yet. US30 slowly chugging away, but not above 31K yet either. There's too many. I'm sorry, I didn't get to read any questions. Yeah, it can bring some short-term strength, but Bank of Japan already had their interest rate policy statement earlier in the week, earlier too. So like this guy just repeated what he said before. Like if I search if we search the newsroom here, this is from 4 a.m. But if you come to like just Monday, he was saying pretty much the same shit on Monday. If you just want to quickly check those in the newsroom, you feel me here? Like more fiscal stimulus needs shit. The fuck. GJ slowly chugging up. GU reacting. All right, what's the questions? You guys have questions in the chat? I didn't get to read any of the YouTube chat. Jeeve, where can I reach you if not Insta? Telegram. Asian girls are the best. What do you think about EJ? It's going to be very similar to EURUSD and GJ. So you could always rewind this to look at our EURUSD analysis and the GJ and the GU analysis. Otherwise, make sure during the next stream you come at the start, and then we can do that analysis for you. But now we're coming towards like Asian session close, the new 4-hour candles, and pre-New York hours. We're just watching the markets. Hasn't been too much going on overnight that we really could execute on, besides a few scalps on GJ. Yeah, I've already finished trading for January. I'm going to be trading back in February, but I take the same trades or analysis that is said on stream. I'm from Ontario. Yeah, savage chat. Yeah, this is the trading pit. What's my favorite hockey team? Detroit Red Wings. Well, back in the day when Steve Yzerman used to play. EU, we're just watching some of these higher time frame levels, but we're just zoomed in here in the lower time frame looking for potential trades here. GJ finally coming right to the reaction point. Still below 0.800. We're getting a very strong reaction, like I was telling you guys, at these previous intraday lows, right? So if we but we're still respecting lower time frame bearish market structure right now. All right, so we have to be very cautious here if we want to start jumping in buys, because pre-New York can give a 50% correction of this move for buyers to get in for the North American hours and then see a continuation to the upside, similar to like the price action here, or like where you had this initial upside move, then a bit of this pullback and continuation up. We can, if we are to see the continue higher time frame trend continue, like buyers continue back to 142.2 and buyer control to take over, it would be ideal to see a repeat of what we see to the left there and the reaction we had to this previous low, where you had this initial upside move that broke the structure, then a pullback that corrected about 50% of that upside move and created a higher low point on the lower time frame, and then a continuation to that upside. That retest for continued buys, if we do break above that structure, would also be ideal to line up with 0.500 psychological price level. So what I'm saying is, on the lower time frame, we're reacting around 0.800 and this bearish market structure that has been primarily been respected for the last few days, right? Ever since buyers started cashing out at those intraday highs. You can even see right now we're getting a pretty strong reaction at this area. It doesn't mean to sell. We're just getting a reaction here at this market structure retest point. Okay. So over the next 4-hour candle and through pre-New York hours, if we play around this area and have a reaction and buyers exit out some positions and we get a pullback and then a support potentially formed at 141.5, that would be a repeat to what we were seeing to the left. And if we fail to break, higher risk, higher reward buys. But the safer buys would still be the sequence of events of getting more buyers in the market or a consolidation phase and then coming above 0.800, because that would show us that the lower time frame corrective and pullback structure is coming to an end, right? It would show us that buyers are in the market and there's more buyer order flow and momentum. So if we got that, if we get signs of rejection here and get that pullback and the following hourly candle or 4-hour comes to retest 0.500, or even if it came to retest all the way down to these lows and fail to break, these areas are higher risk, higher reward buys, because you're looking for a repeat of buyers to jump back into the market, as the higher time frames obviously are still bullish. But the safest buys on GJ would still be with all of these confirms, because you would be validating buyers jumping in from that low, validating buyers momentum with a break of that lower time frame and intraday structure, and coming above 0.800 psychological price level. The only thing that I'm a bit iffy about of us potentially going back up to 142.3 area previous intraday highs is that we are coming towards the end of a month. So the end of a month and the start of a month are significant business periods for banks. There's end of month processing, start of month processing, end of quarter, end of year, etc. Right? So usually during this time, if we were to even see a continuation up on GJ, let's just say through February, if the bulls continue to hold and the structure holds, it would be ideal that the next month a deeper lower wick would be created on the new monthly candle to get buyers in from a better position and then continue up to the upside. So as a trader, don't forget to keep in mind the market timing. Is it the start of a new day? Are we coming towards the end of a month, end of a quarterly period, a start of a new month? And don't forget to check your higher time frame analysis to make sure that your bias is still valid as you start to scale down the time frames, right? But yeah, right now in GJ, we're just reacting at this lower time frame bearish market structure. We had a very strong pullback from this intraday low that was created, but you can see that GJ is still printing lower lows for this intraday period, and still this upside move, even though it's quite aggressive, it still hasn't broken that previous high or above 0.800 just yet. So that's why this would be the safest buy option, because you're showing a lot more buyer order flow and momentum in the market, validating it with the shift in that structure, and fundamentally by validating that the Japanese yen and US dollar, the safe haven currencies, are still relatively flat and bearish in price action, but your global equities are bullish. And what we're seeing is, yes, we identified that UK equities are a bit of that corrective structure, but overnight now, US equities, UK equities, and German equities, like European equities, are having a pretty aggressive bounce from their low points coming towards the end of the month. So we can't ignore that markets are still fairly optimistic, and that the higher time frames are, of course, still very bullish on GJ. We were just playing this corrective bearish structure for the time being as the market moves in waves. You have these impulsive moves, corrective moves. It's what creates the market waves, that transaction between buyers and sellers, closing positions, exiting out of the market, entering the market, but from like a very institutional perspective, not our fucking orders. Our orders don't mean shit, but you get what I'm talking about. Yeah, the psychological price levels like 0.500, 0.800 and stuff, that should be a capital hungry trademark. Roger robbed that, takes credit for it. GU now as well. So we had a nice reaction here, but as the dollar's fading out strength, we can see we're breaking and retesting above the key level and potentially breaking the bearish market structure. But we still have to be cautious that we're still in this intraday range where the safest buys would be above 1.369. If you guys want to learn more, make sure you follow all of the Capital Hungry free resources. The Capital Hungry News Twitter, which posts headlines throughout the night, like Forex Factory. Oh, look at this idiot, man. Fuck this guy. Let's block this guy. Let's report him. I'm not interested in this account, man. Yeah, meet this guy. Fuck this shit. Dusty ass dude. Get the fuck out of here. Alright, anyways, yo. So the Capital Hungry Twitter, this posts headlines. This doesn't post as many headlines as the Capital Hungry newsroom, but it does post like headlines all day. Like you can see for a free resource, this is posting headlines all fucking day. 16 minutes, 26 minutes, 56 minutes. Forex Factory even reposts our headlines. Right? So this is a great resource. Monty here, follow him on his Twitter. Repost his shit, you know? That was a good option, eh? That was a perfect timing option. All right? And make sure you follow the Capital Hungry YouTube. Because if you guys watch all of these educational webinars, besides all of these past live streams, which are 4 hours long, you have these higher time frame breakdowns like on EU, GJ, gold. You have like scalping webinars. You have like psychology webinars. Sorry, technical webinars, fundamental webinars. You have all these free resources at your disposal if you guys want to learn more, and the Capital Hungry free Telegram analysis channel, which has like been posting analysis and information, reminders and stuff like that for like a year now, since 2019. After you use all of those free resources, if you want more, then you can always join the Capital Hungry private channel, where like that's where like we do these sessions every day and a lot more. But other than that, make sure you follow all these free resources. GJ breaking 0.800. Yeah, it's reacting to it. Buddy. Why'd you call me buddy so aggressively at 5 a.m., man? Relax. Yeah, I got beat. Everybody has beef with me, man. I don't know why. can't think of why. No, EU's just in a messy lower time frame range between these candle body highs and lows. Nothing significant yet. US30 though starting to potentially break above 31k. Dollar's just messing about now. If GJ breaks above 0.800, there's a potential 20 pip scalp to 142. But other than that, I'd be waiting I'd be waiting for New York now with the new 4-hour candles coming up in 30 minutes. Or I'd be waiting for better buys out of pullback like at 0.500, what I was telling you guys. Yeah, EU's just messing about. It's looking like buyers want to jump in with the potential repeat we see here, as long as we come back above that 1 minute price point. Damn, sorry about your guys' ears there. But US30 just hit 31k flat key level. Monty, have a great night, great evening, great night. Everybody, make sure to go subscribe and like Monty's stream. We both hate Todd Capital Group, man. Yeah, he agrees with me. Monty agrees with me 100%. He just won't say it because he's like an old nice man, you know. He doesn't want to be any beef and shit. He's just like an old feller. But he trusts me. He agrees with me. Monty's that guy, you know, feeding the birds on a park bench on a nice summer day, giving them breadcrumbs, just enjoying life, you know. Monty's a boomer. Just, you know, just enjoying the breeze. Just not thinking about anything. Doesn't have all those end of the world thoughts like all of us youngins. He's just the OG, you know? Going out for a nice countryside walk. Walking to the local pub. Okay, I just gotta go to the washroom, man. Tonight was pretty uneventful. I can't lie with you guys. GJ gave a nice buy scalp and then a sell scalp, and then we waited for the pullback. Gold just ranging up and down. Like, this is why I didn't want anybody to touch gold. How pissed off would you be like trading gold overnight? You'd just be angry. You'd be punching in the air. Buy 1 second, sell another second, buy 1 second. 1 minute candle goes up 10 pips, then it drops 10. You know what I mean? That's why we already determined we didn't want to mess around this range. EURUSD didn't give anything clean. USDCAD didn't give anything clean. That's about it for what we were looking at there. I'm just going to go to the washroom here and we'll just keep it on GJ. Seed's our boy, yo. Seed's nice because he just minds his business. Nice, quiet guy. Provides like his outlook on what he's looking for a trade, why he's looking for that trade. Fucking calm, collected guy. You know what I mean? Very, very like just a calm, collected guy. Like he's a nice guy. You know what I mean? He's just quiet. But that's my boy too. Seed primarily trades break and retest and market structure, right? But like more on the intraday time frames. Like I know he's been back testing like daily break and retests and stuff like that as well. So once you share your trade ideas, there's only so much more you can talk about unless people start sending charts or sharing analysis or saying, hey, can you look at this? Which is like also what I recommend here. Not now because the stream's ending soon, but the next stream on Thursday, don't be shy to send like the little trading view code. You know what I mean? So I can pull up a chart. Yeah, GJ's giving a nice reaction to 0.800 still. I think it is gonna. I think in my opinion, like the new 4 hour, if we were going to continue up on GJ through New York, I feel it would do a pullback to 0.500, like what we were looking at with the price action to the left there before. If we were to have that continued buyer order flow in the market through New York hours. Uncle Ted, Raja, Seed, and Monty, all of us talk to each other every day. For anybody who thinks that we might be enemies or we might have drama or we might have beef, no matter what you see on social media, no matter what somebody else tells you, I'm telling you right now, and Monty will verify this right now, all of us talk every single day and have been talking every single day for multiple years now. You know what I mean? So like we're all good with each other. If you guys have issues with all of us or any one of us, that's like your own vendetta. You know what I mean? Is that the right word? Vendetta? Trying to sound smart and creative for a second. Is that the right word? That's your own vendetta. I don't think it's the right word. It works. It works. We'll let it go. I'm not fucking Raja's student. Andrew, did Raja actually say that on his stream? Don't lie right now, that dickhead. I was never Raja's student. The only person I have ever signed up for, like, besides like some random free signal chats and shit when I first started, or some MLM shits, you know what I mean, that I got lured into when I first started, was FOREX family under Ted. And at that time, when I first joined, Rakeel wasn't really an official mentor even at that time. He was just starting to become one. You know? But Raja likes to say that I'm his student, so he can say I was his best student because he knows, and this isn't to be cocky, he knows the amount of information I have amassed and the amount of value I share and my work ethic. So it's like he can flex that and be like, oh yeah, I taught him that shit. You know what I mean? Like, shut the fuck up. Stop telling people I'm your student. No, he jokes around about that. Me and like these guys, like we joke around about that. You know what I mean? We just joke around with each other. Sean Lee, I don't personally have beef with him, but he did block me when I used to have Instagram. Remember, you guys remember when I had IG and I used to beef everybody? He did block me because I don't know if you guys noticed, every single marketer has gone through the same pattern. Listen to this. Ready? And I'm gonna give you guys real-time analysis. Let's do some marketer analysis, right? Every marketer does this. course, signals, account management, algo, everything fails. They disappear for a bit, go on vacation, or try a different business, come back, and then repeat that circle. Astro Forex, ready? What did they come out with first? Course, Astro Forex, right? Then they started coming out with a signal. They had a signal chat, which was not consistent and failing. Then they came out with an algorithm. Remember the Astro algorithm? It's supposed to change the world. It's supposed to fucking everybody forgets this because social media forgets things so easily because it's so toxic and there's always a recycle of content. There's so much endless content that it constantly gets recycled, right? Then they had that algorithm that failed, lost people's money, failed huge. Then they came out with the account management where you can pay them $5K to potentially get approved for like a $25K account. Some FTMO shit, right? After that failed, Sean Lee went on a drug adventure in a vacation, had a kid, all this shit, you know what I mean? Got addicted to meth, went on some fucking vision quest and shit. Then after that, he came back. What happened? And then after that, he came back. What did they do? Astro reloaded the course again. Then he came out with another algorithm, Sean Lee, his own one. Fuck, what was it called, man? He had something else. He always had these drastic names. Jupiter, fucking Saturn. He had tons of algos named after planets, right? After that, another account management scheme. Now, right? Element 13. Now look at like fucking Q Banks. Q Banks did the same shit. Wall Street Academy, signal chat, account management. Fucking Q Banks had his algorithm. It failed. Everyone forgot about it. He just disappears for a bit or just starts posting about cars, starts making vlogs about the new fucking shit he's gonna buy or about some fucking like partying and shit they're doing or some other project that he's working on, and then repeat. Look at Daniel Savage and the boys now. What the fuck are they doing? Savage Gang started with this course. Then signals. Then the algo. And the broker, which is all with the algo's fucked up now, losing everybody's money, is it not? After the algo's failing now, Daniel Savage also started to do account management now on his own broker. After all of this fails, they're going to disappear for a bit, start to post some random shit, and then repeat. Yeah, Q Banks has been doing this for a while, but he's also the same guy who crashed a 100K account and had a GoFundMe, but he deleted all that stuff. But we got the receipts because we've been around since those 2016, 2017 days. And it's 2021 now, you know? They usually come with the course, then some signals, then account management. Then they'll disappear for a bit. Yeah, but they usually always get away with it because you know why? You know why all of that exists for those people, and you know why they can keep doing that? It's not their fault. They're just capitalizing on the endless supply of motherfucking retards. There's so many retards and dumb shits in the world that are just looking for easy money, that are just looking for the easiest and fastest way to and the most convenient way to an end result. You know what I mean? There's so many retards. You have to remember, there's 7 billion people in the world. There's like 5 billion internet users. 5 billion, man. 5 billion internet users. You think all of them are smart and educated? A lot of them are some lazy, stupid, dumb motherfuckers, man. That's just the reality. And I used to be the guy that always gave people the benefit of the doubt. But as I started learning more in trading and getting involved in the trading community and the amount of questions I would get regarding basic ass shit or people just saying the dumbest shit over and over and over and over again, I just lost that benefit of the doubt I used to have. I used to have the benefit of the doubt. I always used to try to look that like, no, wait, man, this person's probably smart. They're just, maybe they just don't understand this. But over a period of years now, I've lost that benefit of the doubt. And in my opinion, the reality is the majority of people are extremely dumb, but they choose to be dumb and stay dumb. Listen, please understand that. I'm not making fun of them, but they're choosing actively to be in that position. You know what I mean? And that's why the way the world works the way it does. That's why it's so corrupt. That's why the 1% controls the 99%. That's why the central banks control the money flow. You know what I'm saying? I took Mamba FX Signal Group when he went 20-2 in December. So how much money did you make then with those 20 trades? Yeah, but Q Banks, you have to understand, makes 500k, made 500k like when he started Wall Street Academy before he was even making money trading. This is like 2016 days, right? He has multiple streams of income. It's not hard when you make that much money from multiple streams of income. He used to do in-person courses, webinars, seminars, online courses, signal chat. You get what I'm saying? That's a lot of different money coming in where it's not hard on a $500,000 account to show a $100,000 profit after 3 months or to show a random trade every 3 months, right? But yeah, I don't know who Mamba FX is. Sorry. Somebody just said that. Oh, that guy? But the fucking he's the FX guy who has like ass and titties in his thumbnail and like Rolls Royces. That guy? He used to always pop up like on my fucking feed with the ass and titties and shit. Yeah, it looked like some prank like thing. That's major clickbait. That's just pure clickbait. You're literally trying to get in people who are money hungry and horny. So obviously you're gonna make easy money. You know what one of the biggest markets is, man, is male horniness. That's why OnlyFans exists. That's why porn's so big. It's because dudes are too fucking horny for their own good. Come on, man. Dudes are horny. I know, and you know a way to prove this? There's girls out there who don't even have to go nude and they stream on Twitch and all they do on Twitch is stream themselves sleeping. And they're making more than I'm making a month trading, more than Capital Hungry's making. They're making fucking hundreds of thousands a month from donations of dudes watching them sleep. You know what I mean? So this because us guys have no control over our horniness, it is the fucking endless pool of money in an endless market. Mans are way too horny, man. They can't control it. Dudes like everything. Fucking feet. Everything. Guys like fucking every single fetish exists and there's money being made off it. There's girls out there who stream themselves eating on stream. And mans be fucking donating. Don't watching this fat bitch eat a fucking hot dog. There's videos on it, man. If you don't believe me, go Google it right now. All right? The sex industry, because of dudes' excessive horniness levels, is one of the largest markets. No cap. If I was no cap, if I make a shit ton of money in trading, I would open up a business in the sex industry some way or another because you're never gonna run out of demand. I'm being serious, yo. If I make a shit ton of money in trading or through different income streams and I wanted to open up like a business, I would actually and look to invest some money some way into the sex industry. That shit's endless, man. That's endless demand, endless supply. Fam, have you seen some of these plastic doll? First of all, if dudes were so horny, you wouldn't be having these realistic dolls being created. That's due to a man's imagination. All right? every man is horny forever. So that is a great business to take advantage of. Yeah, we're just bantering now because it's coming towards Asian session close and the new 4 hour candles, you know what I mean? So like I'm being dead honest with you guys. It's a very lucrative market. Raja had a great idea. I don't want to share it, but he had a great idea. I don't want to say it though. Somebody might actually go forward with it. Swaggy C? I don't know who that is. Yo, that one of these guys, my girlfriend told me Swaggy P, the Swag Academy. He was on that show Big Brother, and he was advertising. He was advertising his like forex stuff on the show. Yeah, somebody told me she's yeah that Swag Academy guy. I don't know about him, but apparently my girlfriend just told me he was on that show Big Brother. Pretty clickbait stuff. Fam, guys would pay for only moans. Guys would pay for just sounds of girls moaning. Never mind pictures. Yeah. Some things I would invest in would be in the sex industry, fresh water. How about used panties? Man, everything. The reason you just said how about used panties is because you know that there's mans that are horny for that. You've probably been horny for that. That's why you said it. Batman. Batty man. Trust me. In my opinion, and this isn't to be offensive to any females or women, but if the mass majority of men could control their testosterone and horny rages, girls would lose girls would lose a lot of jobs. Like stripping would be gone, escort service would be gone, porn would die out, OnlyFans would be dead. All these Instagram like models would be like lose their fucking would lose it. You know what I mean? Be a lot of income lost. Not to be rude, but that's a reality. If I can be 100% honest about where the money comes from the horniness of man, I can be honest about the other side too. Let's be real. No, I'm not saying never have sex again or don't reproduce. Listen, reproducing and having sex to reproduce is one thing. Horny ass mans is a whole different fucking topic. These are just horny ass mans. like sugar like sugar babies, that's a business, man. That's literally a business that some of these millennial girls have created nowadays. You ever heard of this whole sugar baby sugar daddy thing? There's websites for that. Yeah. Sugar baby sugar friends, or fuck a sugar friends. Sugar daddy. IG Doust, he was always cool with me, but IG Doust is a generic marketer, obviously. He's from the GTA. He's already rich, man. He's already a rich Jew. Like he'll tell you that himself. His like family's in the watch business. He's already like a rich fat Jew, you know? Fucking guy's just in the kind of wants to do something himself, I guess. But me and him are cool. Like we never had issues with each other. But obviously, he fits that generic marketing mindset, like to that generic marketing image. But like he'll tell you himself, like his family already has money in the watch business and like rich fat Jew. Yeah, he's a Jew. Jew's got money, man. No races behind it. We have a lot of money. Yeah, man, there's so many different things like the video chats, the fucking even some of these girls that don't have to do anything sexual, they just cater to the horny nerds and they video game stream on Twitch. Exactly, A-Rod. You know what I mean? They don't even have to get nude. They're just catering to these horny ass nerdy make some deep fake. That's a whole wow. That's a good ass idea. In reality, man's be jerking off to it, sending you money. In reality, it's just you typing in commands like from this fucking image. Hey, it'll work. It'll work. 100% it will work. If you made a deep fake of a girl like that, of like a realistic girl, and you just program what she does, dudes would pay to watch, man. I don't think I'm better than any trader. I only look at my own trades. I just don't think any of these other guys are actual traders. I think they're more marketers than traders on the side as a hobby. You know what I mean? But anyways, guys, Asian session close coming up. If you're watching New York, don't forget these key fundamental points that are still very much active. And these economic events through New York session. If you guys enjoyed this stream, make sure to like and subscribe. Next time, make sure to come when the stream starts, because that's when we do our fundamental and technical analysis, map out trade ideas, and break everything down across multiple pairs, all right? Anita, take your stupid ass out of the stream then and go back and sit with Monty. It's 5 a.m. Eastern. Horny dudes is probably why you got a job, Anita Brugmans. You know, don't come here to catch a roasting. You think women can't catch a roasting in here? You will catch it worse. Go back then. Just click the back button on your browser. Everybody always comes at the end of the stream saying, "Hey yo, can you give me analysis? Hey, can you give me a trade? Hey, can you say a trade to take?" Like, that's not how the market works. If you come into a stream and say, "Hey, what trade can we take right now?" Quit trading, because you have no idea of how the market actually works, you know? Right now, tonight was primarily just ranging markets. Nothing significant really happened. New 4-hour candles and Asian session close coming up. Make sure, if you guys do want to learn more, and make sure you guys, if you guys do actually want to see trade ideas and analysis, you come to the start of these streams, because these streams, they're 3 to 4 hours long. If you guys go to the YouTube channel, so the first 2-3 hours of the stream is just straight analysis, trade talk, fundamentals, and technicals. Obviously, the last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, we start to banter, we roast each other, we talk about random shit, because it's my live stream, man. I can talk about whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean? But if you do want to learn more, make sure you take the time to watch all of these educational webinars. Anita, Damas, did you do that before you commented? No, you didn't. You didn't look at any of this, did you? You didn't even know it existed. So maybe trading isn't for you. Maybe OnlyFans is for you. But anyways, make sure this YouTube, you check it out, subscribe, like. Make sure you watch all the webinars. The Twitter, follow it. Constant news headlines throughout the day. And the free Telegram analysis channel. Fam, that OnlyFans thing, wow, you guys are saying that's mean? Shut the hell up. That's mean. That's literally a business. That's a job. They're making, probably OnlyFans girls making a lot more than all you guys trading. Come on. I bet 90% of OnlyFans girls are making more than 90% of this chat right now. 1,000%. I would bet my account on it. I would bet Capital Hungry on it. How much you want to bet on that? That's a very lucrative business. How dare you guys disrespect it? You guys are the ones being disrespectful, not me. Yeah. Come on, guys. Wake up. It's 2021. Be open. All right? I'm not lying. I'm not lying. It's a lucrative business. If I had big titties, I'd be on that shit. All right, everybody. Make sure on Thursday, the London stream on next London stream is Thursday, 1:30 a.m. Eastern Start Time. If you guys want to take trades with me and the chat, make sure you come early to the streams so we can do all the analysis like we do. And we can map out our trade ideas ahead of time. We are not looking for trades or sharing trade ideas or analysis the last 30 minutes of the stream, right? Make sure you guys follow all of those free resources. Market's not doing much right now, just going up and down. I will see you guys on Thursday for the next stream, all right? Everybody take care. Thank you guys for coming and watching. I appreciate you guys. I love the YouTube chat, love the Zoom chat more. I'm glad we can all bond with each other, shoot the shit, and also banter and keep each other company. Not just be always so serious, you know? Especially when the market's ranging, man. Fuck. Nothing to talk about anyways. I'll see you guys later. Make sure you guys rewatch this though, because the analysis is still valid through New York session if you guys trading, okay? And Zoom chat, I'll send this YouTube link so you guys can rewatch it as well.